5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to episode, I forgot which number it is, but welcome back to the Have We Made It Yet podcast. Again, if this is your first time, or it might be the 60th plus time of this show, I think it's still my obligation to do the description of this show, which is the Have We Made It Yet podcast, which is the show where two creatives and their guest, which I'm really excited for today, talk about the process of making it. As always, you're joined by myself, the actor portion of this podcast, Lucas Ng, and my co-host is
Josh Yang, the comedian portion, stand-up comedian portion of this podcast. And we're basically here to talk about our experiences from the beginning to the point where we actually maybe make it in the future and showcase what it's like from the beginning. Because Lucas and I, we started about like a year, 2 years ago, and we're still really new into the game. But yeah, if we can take you on our journey from the very beginning to wherever the journey goes, we want to give you a look at how the process actually is to making it.
Yeah, but once we make it though, game's over. None of this podcast. We're done.
Yeah.
Right, Josh? Okay.
Well, but then something else comes along and then you just want that other thing and you try to make it to that. And it's who knows? There's endless desire.
New title will then be, how long can you still make it?
Yeah.
All right. As we ask with every show of this podcast, I have to ask the question, Josh, and it's been far too long, Josh, since I've asked this question to you. And your new background, mind you, because we are doing this from the opposite ends of Canada. Yeah, we are. Josh is actually in Victoria. No, I'm kidding. He's in, well, I don't know. I don't know if you want to give out your location, actually.
I'm in Vancouver, Lower Mainland. But okay. Ask me the question, Lucas.
All right. So, Mr. Josh Yang, have you made it yet?
I have not made it yet. And coming, like Lucas said, I'm in Vancouver right now, and just first time back since the pandemic, and kind of looking forward to seeing what the Vancouver comedy scene is like. Last time I was here, I was able to do their last amateur night. It might have been their last amateur night in December of 2019, before really the pandemic hit and shut everything down. But yeah, like that was a great night. Was able to do it in Vancouver, my home, in front of friends and family, and now excited to see what other bars or shows are available in Vancouver. So see if my comedy works out here. Either way, though, Lucas, hey, you had a rough night. So let me ask you, rough night. Let me ask you, have you made it yet?
I take exception to that. No, actually, it was a hard night, but. You know what? I'll say it, because after I did what I did last night, I put my hands up. I'm like, I'm getting there. But first steps first. No, I have not yet made it. But I did my first overnight shoot last night. Oh.
Brutal.
I had my first, like, I don't drink coffee, but I had my first like black coffee in like 2 years or something like that. And that kept me wired from 12 a.m. until 10 a.m., which was our shoot time and everything. I got to do my 3 scenes for the short film that we're doing. And it was a great cast and crew, highly capable. But what I love most about everyone in that cast and crew was that they were so kind and accepting and just so gracious, because I was a day player, right? So I was only there for the day. But overall, though, it's like, there's going to be more of these overnight shoots, and that's just the name of the game. So you gotta keep pushing. That's the main thing. And although I'm tired, but it's still part of it, and I'm happy to do it. So haven't made it yet, but hopefully closer now.
But making it, it's a verb. It's all part of the process.
All the process, baby. Philadelphia 76ers process. All right. We have a third panel today, Josh.
Oh, we do. We do have a third panel.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the intro. Are you ready, Josh?
I'm ready.
Okay. So for our listeners and our viewers there. I'll be honest, with our next guest here, I haven't met her yet in person. So that's why I'm even more grateful that she said yes to coming on the show. It's really exciting, actually, for this guest here for Josh and I. I first knew of our next guest, though, through LB Acting Studios Actor Features. I recognized her from shows such as Nurses and Ginny Georgia, and from then on, I started researching her work. I was immediately drawn to her positivity, smarts, personal, and also overall drive to be better. Through her openness with her craft, she's taken us along for the ride as she shows us the behind-the-scenes work on what keeps her going. Our next guest here has had roles in the aforementioned Nurses, Jupiter's Legacy, and also lended her voice for the incredible kid-friendly smash hit, I'm not sure if you have any nieces or nephews, but the Paw Patrol movie.
That's big deal, Paw Patrol.
Exactly. You might know her best as Sophie Sanchez in Ginny Georgia and Brooklyn 2 from the hit Hulu series Utopia Falls. Please give it up for the amazingly ultra-talented actress Humberly Gonzalez.
Yeah. There it is.
I was like, hello, the camera's not working. Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming on again. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. As we start off with every episode, though, Humberly, have you made it yet?
No, I think I'm right at the start of my career. Making it would mean that I probably wouldn't have to audition anymore and just get offers left, right, and center, not have to worry about what my next project is.
Yeah.
To be able to just kind of, not have to have the anxiety of what's next. Mm-hmm. But I've definitely made big moves in the last, 5 years of my career that I've only been working professionally. When I think of the grand scheme of things, I know that there's so much more to come, and I'm just at the start. I've just been so grateful and blessed with so many opportunities that I've been able to take part in. And, I've been able to do so many different kinds of projects, from commercial to voiceover work to video games, film and TV. And, all of that has the variety of all of that is exciting because, I always get to see what ignites me. What do I want to do? And there's still so much to explore because I know there's so much that I still haven't done. So haven't made it. Do you really want to make it? Oh, this is it. Now we got here. Now there's nothing else to grow into. I don't think I ever want to make it. I just want to keep going, keep growing, keep, digging deep. Yeah.
If I could expand on that point about the moments that you've had so far, though, if you could look into the crystal ball 5-10 years down the road and everything like that, what could you say would be your I made it moment if you could encapsulate it?
Leading a show or some kind of movie franchise. I am definitely working towards being the lead, and I feel like I'm ready. I've done enough projects and been on set enough that I feel like I have what it takes to be able to lead an entire production forward. Anytime I'm in a production, I always look to the number one for guidance and the way that they, conduct themselves, how they carry the set. That person really does affect everybody else. It trickles down, their energy, their work ethic, just the way that they are with everybody. So I'm definitely waiting for that, to be able to say that I signed an option with a show and I get to be with that show for several years and they become family. That's definitely what I'm working towards and what I want. And something that is new and fresh, and it's from me, I want to do something that's new and exciting. So I hope, it's coming. The universe is doing its thing.
Manifest that. I love it. Put it out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I also did want to start from the beginning, though, of your whole trajectory into the whole creative fields and all that. I had done some research and I saw that you had gotten your start in Venezuela when you were living there until you were 12 years old and everything. And do you have any, because I remember also that you had said, during your parents' parties, you and your brother would then like start singing and dancing and like put on a whole
Totally.
production. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you already from a young age already had that like dramatic flair and everything like that. You knew you wanted to do something. Was there a moment in particular before, say, you were 12 that you somehow said, you know what, one day I'm going to stick to this as my craft that will lead me on for the future?
No, I mean, growing up in Venezuela, it's just, I didn't even know acting schools existed. Like it was not part of like a career. It was more like, I enjoy doing this. I always loved performing since I was a baby. Like since I was 2, I would always be like singing, dancing, and doing things like that. Even my parents say that. They're like, you were always an artist. You were always just very outgoing and very much like that. But no, it never became like a real thing until I moved to Canada, that I was like, oh, people go to acting schools. Like this is a thing. And even then I was like, I'm not going to get in. Like, what do I have to, it's like people like me do not follow this path. I didn't have any mentors or anyone in my family for that matter that ever followed like their dream or anything that had to do with the arts. I was literally the first one. So there was a huge learning curve and a lot of unknowns, but I don't know. I just kind of went for it, and maybe not knowing was kind of what allowed me to be a part of it. Cause I think if I had known too much about the world, I would have probably like self-sabotaged or been too scared to even try, or, you know, like I had never auditioned before. And so when I did, it was like so extra because I didn't know the rules. You know, like people were like, they're blacks in theater and they're just there with nothing. Like I literally had costume changes and props, and like, it was so extravagant because that's what in my mind I saw it as. And just goes to show that you should just like do whatever you want, and like that's your creative expression, and fuck the rules.
Yeah. Nice. Absolutely. I mean, like everybody I think has in the beginning, you know, that will I or won't I take this chance or go to this audition, try going on stage and trying stand up for the first time. Knowing and like even everybody like has their own strengths, has their own weaknesses, and like you're kind of pretty cognizant of what they are. Like, is there something through your experience going into it and then committing to going to acting school in Montreal at the National Theatre and taking that leap? Like, do you have any advice for that you would have told yourself, or even anybody else who's like thinking about making that leap to make that decision?
I mean, the first step was literally just applying and getting that first audition and saying like, hey, yes, we want to see you. I was like, amazing. Accepting that being said yes to, you don't need to feel like an imposter. There's something that they want that is part of you, whether it's an image or hit or an energy, something. But even like getting an audition, it's already a yes. So just to stop second guessing yourself and stop doubting that it's possible, because I mean, anything is possible, really. Like it's a lot easier to say, no, I'm not going to do it because of the fear of failure, but you don't know the outcome either way. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're completely prepared, and I would have been so like confident that I would have gotten in, which I didn't know. For me, it was just kind of like a fun thing that I got to try. I never really was judgmental of it. I was excited, never thought I would get in. Didn't even really know what NTS was until I was there. I didn't know like how prestigious it was, and that they only chose like a few people a year. Like I had no idea what this place was. Literally when I auditioned, I was like, oh cool, yeah, let's just do it. Which is why when they're like, oh, come in, bring 2 monologues, I literally did like Chicago in 3 minutes and put on a whole musical production. And that, you know, in the rules that I know now, like I don't think I would have ever done that because, you know, like that's not what you do. It's the whole when they're like, oh, don't shake people's hands, like don't do this, don't do that. I'm like, you know, I was just following my excitement and my eagerness to just show what I had inside me and like why I wanted to do this. And they saw that. And so I've always remembered that I'm like, you know what, just follow your gut, like do what you love and what you want to do, like your uniqueness, like stick to that, because everybody else will show up in their blacks and do like a Shakespearean monologue and a comedic monologue, and you kind of got lost in it. I'm like, try something different. I don't know. I've always felt that taking that risk and doing something completely different that's true to you is so much better than following that norm and like what you're supposed to do to be successful. I don't think there's even a real way to get there. Just being authentic to yourself is like the key. I really believe that.
For sure. And I also find like it's the kind of naivete that also gets you to be more bold and confident too.
100%, because you're not judging what you don't know.
Yeah.
If I had known that was a no-no, I would have been like too scared to even try. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. There's like a looseness to when you're performing or going through the audition. If you like don't realize you're supposed to be afraid of this, or you're not afraid of it, it comes across. Yeah.
So, that's kind of like nurturing your like inner child. That play, that like curiosity, that sense of wonder, that's why we're artists anyway. It's we're constantly trying to find the game. Like, where's the game? Where's the fire? Where's like the sparks of it all? So I always think of that. I mean, I literally had no idea this is where I would end up being.
Yeah.
It was literally like a shot in the dark, and it just kind of, someone said yes to me, and they said, yep, you have what it takes. And I had never moved away from home alone. Like, it was just such a huge change going from like Alberta to Montreal, across the country alone. Like, it was a huge adventure, and I could have very easily given up or felt overwhelmed, or, just felt like I didn't deserve this, or that it wasn't for me, that I made a mistake, that imposter syndrome. But honestly, I was just so excited that I didn't care. I just kind of said yes to everything. I was like, let's just do it. Like, what do I have to lose? Literally.
Yeah.
You got to try. You have to be courageous to try.
Also, as a side point, I do love that you didn't know how prestigious the NTS
I had no idea what
was.
NTS was. I mean, for someone who didn't grow up in North America, who didn't even know anything about acting or what an agent was, like how it all worked, I had no idea. All I knew is that I loved performing and being on stage. So I wanted to keep training and just continue being in that world.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I went there and I, did some research and I like understood like what it meant to go to the school. I was like, oh shit. I'm kind of glad I didn't know. I think I would have been like, nope, not even gonna attempt that, because I'm obviously not gonna get in. You know what I mean? Like, we stop ourselves more often than like, it's not really us failing, it's just us not trying or thinking that we aren't enough, Yeah.
No doubt. So I also did want to ask you about like the whole going into class and everything like that, but also more about currently like what you're doing too right now. On your Instagram, you do have a 2-post series about from audition to screen, where you show your self tapes and then your what's actually portrayed
like
in,
the
like,
final
Utopia
product.
films.
I want to keep doing that. It's so cool because you just never know what you're gonna book, and it's so cool to look back. Like, I save every audition, I have them on a hard drive, and I love looking back and just seeing like the growth, like on my own anyway. Every role is different. I feel like they're always part of me, but you just never know what they see and what they want. So when I get to see it like full circle, like I wish I had my nurses one, but that one was in person. A lot of the ones I've done have been in person, so it'll come. I guess the only one I do have is the one for Slumberland, but that movie's not out yet until next year. So that'll be a fun one to post about.
Can't wait.
But it's cool. I think it's so cool to like demystify the whole process, like from auditioning to how it changes so much on screen and how you change, like your makeup, your look, like the amount of times I've been told I'm like either too young and beautiful for a part or like not old enough, whatever, all these things. And then ultimately you end up booking it and you see how like film transforms you.
Exactly. So like I did want to ask you about your tape for like Utopia Falls when you auditioned for Brooklyn there. There were some great moments, even from the very beginning, when you said like, "Are you with us?" And it was like that kind of initial spark that really drew me into your self tape and everything. Just for you, when you were doing it, was there a point when you did realize you were doing something that was special that could separate you from the rest of the pack?
You know what? That's such a good question, because when I did the tape, it was only one take.
One take?
At this point, for this role specifically, it was just one. I just did it once because I was like, I remember finishing and I was like, that felt like I did nothing, but I was just connected. Like I never really tried to do something. Like I remember my acting teachers in my head being like, don't act, don't try to put on something and force something. You just have to be and listen and find the moments. I'm not the kind of person that like plans out what I'm going to do. I just like to understand the scene, be affected and listen. I never plan moments. So that's always very exciting. And when I feel connected and it happens, I'm like, cool, that's it. I just let it go. Usually when I do auditions, I do like 3 takes max, but I usually end up choosing like the first one anyway, because that's I don't know. My instincts are usually like spot on right at the start. And then everything else is just kind of like playing on what I've already found.
Yeah.
But at that point, like I had already auditioned for 2 other different characters. I had auditioned for Aaliyah and for Sage. I had been in the callback. I had done all of the dancing. This was the last role I auditioned for. So it was Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And spoke to the director. We got off the phone. He's like, this is what I'm looking for. Bring that energy, that sassiness, that confidence that Brooklyn has. And instantly I was like, yeah, that's so much me, so much more me than any other character. So I really just had to be me. And that's why it didn't feel like anything, because I'm like, it's just me. I mean, this is what they're going to get, because I'm just, Brooklyn was always just this energy.
Exactly.
Did it once, sent it off, and then it was literally like the next day when they were like, you got it.
Damn.
It was like right down to, had to like go to LA that day. Like the tape went to LA and they were looking at it. And then the next morning it was like, boom. It happened so fast. And you never know, right? But at the same time, I knew that they wanted me because literally I had been auditioning for so long. So they were trying to see where I fit.
Yep.
And so I wasn't nervous and I wasn't putting pressure on myself at all. It was just kind of like, listen, if it's meant for me, it will not pass me. So I just have to do the work.
Yeah. And it is crazy at times. Like just looking at the character of Brooklyn, I don't think they could have casted a person better, because like you do have the background of stage performing and song and dance and everything like that.
Yeah.
Plus that confidence, that kind of sassiness and that overall, like, also you had some great comedy bits there too, in terms of like social movements and everything. Yeah. So it seems like when you said you didn't feel like you weren't acting in your self-tape, I think that came off as a really genuine portrayal of what Brooklyn could be, but also who you are also.
Yeah, I think I truly do try to be like as authentic as possible in my tapes. Like I want it to feel so real. I want it to feel like it's just a conversation and there happens to be a camera catching it, and it's hard to get to that because we are self-critical and there's the voice in our head that's like, that wasn't good, or like, should have tried something different. But like, it doesn't exist in my mind as much anymore. I know when I'm telling the truth and I know when I'm lying. So all I have to do is push myself into more truth.
Yeah.
That's it. Listen, like truly listen. Don't try to force anything, emotions, things like that. Can't force it. You have to breathe through it, be grounded. And this role was like a dream role for me. I got to dance and sing and act.
Yeah.
My first series regular in a show. Like it was just so a great experience for me to know that I could handle that kind of workload for several months and being around people. So I was very excited and literally life-changing. I was like, oh my God, yes.
That's awesome.
Nice. I mean, that's great to hear. And it's you're right. It's that kind of mentality and approach is something hard to not only have, but like develop over time. And I would ask then is like, how did you find getting to that point where you can go in and be very just loose and like, it is what it is, just be yourself. Like,
be you. Yeah.
How much of that, grind did you have to get past, or like the self-doubt, or like what kind of things did you do that helped you get to that point?
Honestly, it took a while because, I had been training for 5 years. I went to literally theater school for 5 years before I even moved to Toronto and attempted like working professionally. And I wasn't even there yet. When I started, like my voice was like octaves higher. I was like more rigid. I wasn't really listening. There was a bit of like being like almost like above the lines. One of the notes that I got when I started auditioning here in Toronto was like, she's good, but she's so green. It's like, what the hell does that mean? He kept telling me like I was green, and like it makes sense. You're like a little baby plant, you're maturing, but you're not fully grown yet. And it comes with understanding, I guess, how to like sell your face and yourself. I didn't understand camera work. I didn't understand the world yet. So when I was doing auditions, like I didn't really I didn't put myself within the world. I wasn't building the world. I was just so focused on the lines and like acting that I wasn't really aware of everything else around me. Whereas now I think of like where I am, if there's people around me, do I have to be quiet? Is there music? What am I distracted by? What am I feeling in my body? Like I'm just so much more aware of me, like truly in that moment.
Yeah.
And everything else comes after. The words are the last thing that are important. Is behavior. You know, it's behavior, it's the relationship, it's how is this making me feel? Am I winning? Am I losing? Am I getting what I want? All of those juicy things that like we experience in life without even like asking ourselves, because it happens naturally. So I know one of the reasons I'm there now is because I started paying attention to how I was in my real life. There has to be this awareness of you being alive and how you conduct yourself through life and how you are in conversations and situations. I'm always so hyper aware because I mean, maybe that's a little cynical that I'm like constantly thinking about how I'm going to use my life and my work, but that's kind of how it is. You have to have that experience to bring it into your work and then be like, I've been in this situation. I know exactly how to open up in that way and how to be vulnerable, to be seen in that moment. But training, I mean, I think being on set helps a lot. I learn a lot from watching other people. I've worked with incredible artists that I'm like, wow, literally like from the second, like we could be having a conversation and then they go action and like nothing changes. It's just the next moment in their life. And I appreciate that because it means that you're just present the whole time. Nothing has to like change or shift. I mean, I understand if you go from like talking and then suddenly it's like a giant action scene or something, that's different. But when it comes to just like having a conversation with another actor and like cameras are shooting, you shouldn't have to really change much of like your voice or your anything. And I was like, that's incredible. And I remember having those thoughts watching Perry Matfeld work on In the Dark. I think she's a phenomenal actress. She's inventive and she's always trying new things without being told what to do. And that's really cool because she takes so many risks, like the way that she explores the world and the things around her, plus playing a blind person. Like that's not easy. She just brought so much to the table, and watching her work, I was like, wow, I'm in awe of the fact that like you can just go from this to that and like so seamless.
Exactly.
And what helped me also was Meisner. Meisner got me out of my head and into my body. It got me out of the words and into the relationship. Loved it. Like I studied Meisner for a few years and at CFC. So it was kind of like, oh, I get it now. Like that makes more sense. Yeah.
What I find more and more is that, of course, there is something about like being disciplined in like shooting and everything like that, like doing things, you know, as the way that director wants or whoever. But at the same time, like being fluid and being loose at the same time, like being able to take risks, but not just any random risk, but like risks within the world that is appropriate. And I find, you know, just you as an actor, though, like you do take risks, but they're authentic risks. They're like tiny tweaks that you see.
They have to be within your world and like your realm of knowing yourself. And it's going to keep changing, right? It depends on like what you're comfortable with. Like I just shot a movie recently that I think it was some of my best work. I felt very safe on set and I felt seen and heard and connected to my co-stars. And it was just like, wow, like this is the feeling that I want all the time. It's not, you're not going to find it in every production, but like I was able to do things and go against things that are like my habits, you know, like we all have them, things that we know we're good at. So we keep doing that.
Right.
But I was trying to challenge myself and like, not just go into like autopilot or like what I'm used to. I was trying to listen differently. I was trying to be affected differently. And that's really fun when I'm trying to just try different things without it being like complete shit. And they're like, you can't do that. We're shooting a movie. Like, do your thing. You know, you have to take risks within like the realm of the world and the realm of like what's acceptable and what you can take, what I can handle.
Were you talking about 100 Lives?
Yeah, 100 Lives.
Awesome. Yeah, I that's a perfect segue into this. So an amazing production. Like some of our former guests on this podcast have also been your co-stars for that movie. Like Chase Tang, I think he was there too. What can you tell us? Of course, no spoilers or anything like that, but what can you tell us about your
No,
character,
literally,
Fiona?
like we haven't really like obviously we haven't done any promotion for it at all. We just finished shooting. But it's exciting because this team is so hardworking. Dana Abraham, who like was the person who reached out to me, creator, director, like no, not director, creator, and the number 2 in the movie. Like he's one of the leads,
Nice.
producer. Like he just wore a lot of hats and it was a lot of work for him. But at the same time, it was just so amazing to see the passion that he has for the job.
Yeah.
He is an actor and then wasn't working as much as he wanted. So he just created his own production company, started making stories, right? Like that's so inspiring.
Yeah.
And Red Hill Entertainment grows with every project that they take on. They've worked with incredible actors in the past. I think this one it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's about the music industry in Toronto, something that never gets done. You know, Toronto always turns into like Chicago or New York or something else. So I'm just really proud that it's like based here and we're featuring artists from here. And it's all like original music, really incredible writing, raw work. Like everybody really showed up to play and like they were on their game. Our director, Ruzbe, was incredible. I have a feeling that it's going to be a hit and I'm so excited to like share more and share the music.
Awesome.
To be able to sing again for it was a dream. So I'm so excited to be seen in that light more because I do want to lean into music more. This project kind of reminded me that like singing is my first love and I adored being able to do it for the movie.
My goodness. Just looking at the cast and crew too, a lot of Toronto is represented highly in that one. In terms of like just the big production that you have like described for 100 Lies, what can you say about like the amount of talent there is in Toronto?
So much. I mean, wow, like I'm always so impressed and in awe with the people around me that are succeeding and they're winning and they're making big moves. I mean, I look at Kiana Madera, I look at Simu, I look at like the people, you know, Shamir Anderson, all of them. And I'm like, there's a lot of talent here. We just need to be given the space and the opportunity. And I know that it's coming. I mean, I look at a show like Ginny and Georgia, where most of our series regulars are all Canadian. I think it shocked a lot of people when they found that out. And I was like, yeah, we have a lot of talent here. You know, when we're being compared to the United States, I'm like, listen, they've had Hollywood for a long time. Canada isn't that, but I think we just need to take risks. We need to take the risk on giving someone a shot and they'll be pleasantly surprised, I think.
No doubt. My goodness. Josh, I know you had some other questions about like other products or productions that Humberly has been on.
Other products. Well, I'm more of a history buff, and looking throughout history, I do know that there are various kinds of angels, like guardian angels. You have the Los Angeles Angels baseball team, Victoria's Secret Angels, but in history, there's only been 2 Philadelphia cream cheese Philly Angels, and I just want to ask the next Philly Angel, how did it feel to get those wings in Halo? So
wild. Honestly, I had no idea that someone like me could have represented a brand. Especially as a Latina immigrant, I was like, what? Like, they never ask us to be at the forefront to sell anything. And I hadn't done commercials in a long time. Like, that's how I started. I used to do so many commercials. That was like my whole first year. And it had been a few years. But this one was different. They were looking for this like through the whole country. And my director was a director I had for Ginny and Georgia as well. So it was a great reunion. And I got to meet Linda, which was so epic. Like, icon. And being there that day, like the craft team is so kind. And we'll be able to make like more and more in the future. We just shot like a TikTok ad and the newest one that was like just me alone. And I was like, I hope that they'll like it. And they were just like, we love you. Like, you're the best angel. I'm like, thank you.
Aww.
It was so nice. It was honestly just like such an honor. And I was like, I love this. Love this for me.
That's great, because like I remember those commercials as a kid as well, like Linda Cash and those just popping up. Those were some of my favorite commercials. And then I lost track of it, or they just stopped it somewhere out of the blue, and then all of a sudden it comes back. I see it's like, oh wow, they're bringing it back, and yeah, it was exciting to hear that. It's like, oh right, that's where I saw you from, because I think I saw you in that, and I was like, looks familiar. I see her in a lot of different things, and so really excited to have you on. In terms of that kind of like, commercial element where now actors who take on these roles is more than just before. Before it was like you do a commercial, you go on some billboards. That was pretty much it. Like you said, now you're doing TikToks, now you're doing like other social medias, like that kind of role is now expanded.
So interesting. Yeah. Like now the commercial, they're like, oh yeah, TikTok ads, and they shoot it vertically. I'm like, that's so weird. Like what? The camera just goes boop. Yeah. That's what's selling. I mean, the industry has to keep up with how media is consumed. So yeah.
And that kind of leads me into another area I wanted to ask you about, because like you're very active on TikTok and Instagram. You have like over 230,000 followers on there. With our whole podcast talking about the process of making it, I think that's a whole nother area now that actors and creatives now have to consider. You almost can't survive without having a strong social media presence. Yeah.
It's part of your business. It's like, some people really hate it, but when you think about the fact that so many people are looking at that to cast you, directors, creators, producers, production companies, they're all looking at that because nowadays, again, the way that media is consumed is through people. If people have a fandom, if people have people following them, they'll bring those people into the product they're trying to sell, into the movie that they're trying to promote, into all of these things. So yeah, I mean, there's like this weird part of it where it's like, so does your talent and your art matter anymore? Is it just followers? I mean, there's also that discussion because there's been a lot of TikTokers and people that like have gotten like deals with movies, and I'm like,
Addison Rae.
Sorry. I was like, how? I'm like, oh yeah, no big deal. It's not like I went to theater school for 5 years and trained my ass off just so that like, it's fine. And I mean, hey, like they're content creators and it's a lot of work as well. Just so different to try and shift gears into like knowing that I have to prioritize social media as well because it is part of my business. So I'm very grateful to my team that they recognize that, being able to like get verified. That was all through my LA team and being able to like push for that because it's not easy. It's a whole process. And, my following has been very natural because of the projects that I've been in. So that's really cool that it just kind of naturally happens. And it's so new for me. I remember being like super freaking anxious before Ginny and Georgia came out. I was just like, how am I going to deal with this many people and this energy? But now I learned that I'm like, listen, I'm a human. I talk about that often. I'm a person too. I have to have boundaries. I love interacting with fans, but I also have to like make sure that I'm in a good mental space to be able to like give back as well. So, it was a lot easier when I had like 20,000 followers and I used to just like interact with all of them. I was so close with so many of my fandoms from Utopia Falls. Now it's so different. I mean, it's a lot more people. It's, but honestly, my fandom is so sweet. And like my following is like mostly women, queer, young, so supportive. And they understand. I feel like they know me in a way, like as much as I let them in, but it's really nice to feel supported with the people who are like watching my journey. And it means a lot because, I'm exploring it and experiencing it as I go, just like they are like seeing it, and they're always so sweet. So I feel like I lucked out that it wasn't just like creepy people, and you know what I mean? Like it could have been the other opposite way where I'm like, no, I feel like my platform can be really inspiring and I just want to share like positivity and light and know that, let people know that like they can also follow their dreams. And in supporting each other is how you build a community too. Like it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great to hear because like, like you said, it could be worse and it could be turned into a really dark direction, especially with social media and how the internet works.
It's so wild. Like 1 second you're loved, the next second something happens and you're canceled and like, that's it. It's scary. It's truly scary to have that many eyes on you because it's almost like there's no room for error or like humanness sometimes because listen, I'm not perfect, but I try to be as inclusive and as respectful as possible. So I'm very cautious with what I do say and put out there and who I support and like the things that I post about. It's just always hard because you can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
There's always going to be someone who doesn't agree, and like accepting that is hard sometimes. But you know, it's either you share your point of view or you're just like neutral, which isn't also good. So, you know, you have to find the balance on like what to fight for and pick your battles. And I'm figuring it out. You know, right now it doesn't seem as overwhelming. Like I think when you reach like millions and millions, that's like next level. I think you have someone else dealing with it, because I don't think that I could handle that.
Absolutely, because that's a lot. Just like, not only is, you know, people talk about work burnout, especially with COVID, everybody's working from home. You don't know when to shut off. Like social media, that's also 24/7. And especially with such a personal connection with your fans as well. It's like, how do you know how to shut that off? How do you know how to
And it's hard because I don't want to feel like I'm being rude or like they don't matter. And I used to feel that at one point, that I was like, no, I have to like take a chunk out of my time to like reply to DMs or something. But now I'm like, no, I realize that gives me anxiety. And also I can make more of like a general post and be like, hey, I see your messages and I appreciate them. But I've had instances where once you accept one DM, they can always message you. And then I got like people calling me like 60 times a day. You know what I mean? So, or like messages like left, right, and center being like, I love you, I love you, I love you. Notice me, reply. Like, it's just, it becomes too intense. So I was like, I can't do that anymore. Has to be a boundary. Yeah.
For sure. And like, I'm wondering, you know, because everybody's more connected on the internet, how's your experiences been like in person, meeting with fans or out in the real world?
So cool though. Like it just started to happen recently because I haven't been out, and then with the masks, like people don't know, but like literally, like when I go out, people will be like, hey, I literally had this happen to me a week ago. I was at an event, and like the second I took off my sunglasses, this girl was like, oh, you looked just like that girl from that show. And I was like, Ginny Georgia. And she was like, yeah, you look just like her. And I was like, I am her. She was like, no, yeah, like you looked so much like her. And I was like, no, I am her. And like her face just went like she couldn't comprehend. And all of her friends came, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? It was so sweet though. It was like very positive experience. It was just like, I've never experienced that before, to be like recognized in the wild. And I've had really sweet instances where it's like parents of kids being like, my daughter loves you, or like just things like that, and like taking pictures of people, or like honestly, people recognize me as the Philly Angel a lot. Like it's really weird to me. Nice. But when I go to stores and people are like, you're a Philly Angel, I'm like, yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
I'm not sure if they've put out billboards for that yet, but are you going to be the one to like point at yourself at the billboard for Philly Angel?
That's so funny. I would definitely do that. When I did the TikTok hat, I did the like me being like, that's me, guys. Nice. It's just cool. I mean, like, what a interesting job. And like, I think you have to celebrate those wins. Yeah. It isn't about being cocky or anything. It's just like, I'm so proud of how far I've come and how much I've worked. And like, it is exciting. It's exciting when you are recognized and you get to see your work and you're proud of it. And you have to celebrate that, because those are the wins and the little wins. Like they, you know, one day they're going to be like nothing compared to what I'm going to like make. But like, I want to remember these beginnings, these things that mean so much to me, that were like, I'm following my dream and it's happening. Like I'm literally living my dream, my dream job, and it's happening. Like how many people get to say that? And I feel so lucky that I get to say that.
Humberly, because just at the very beginning of this podcast, you had said your career has just started. And through researching you for these past 2 weeks, like your IMDb list is so big. You've had so many credits. I'm like, you just started?
I know.
Like, holy crap. Your trajectory is going to be huge. And we are so looking forward to what you have next.
That. Yes, thank you. No, listen, like I want it. And I always say yes. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to be wrong or make mistakes. I'm not afraid to get rejected, because if it's not for me, that it doesn't mean I suck. It just means I'm open now to what is meant for me. My mentality has changed so much when it comes to work. And I used to be so desperate and get worried a lot and get anxious. But now it's like, wait a second. Honestly, like I'm putting in the work. Yeah. I'm staying grateful and I'm working hard. So when the project that's coming my way is ready for me. Like, I'm just gonna be here patiently waiting, saying, yes,
Nice.
thank you. I've been waiting.
Yeah.
You know, like we can't worry about what we don't know.
Yeah.
So you might as well just stay hopeful and stay working and trust that it will work because you want it, right?
That's the perfect segue, because I did have this question written out here, just because it's like, it's personal to me also, but I'm sure like many other actors face it too. I was on a bit of a dry spell, like in 2020, of course, leading up to also like 2021 and everything. How do you deal with disappointment?
Honestly, like, it's okay to have wanted something and fantasized about, like, oh my God, what if I get it? What if, if you're down to the last two, or if you're pinned and then you're not chosen in the end? I just have to remind myself that I got that far and that I was already being considered, and that's huge. To be considered, to be seen is already a win. So I have to focus on the fact that maybe not this project, but the next time. If anything, I know that I had a great audition, I made a great impression, and they're going to remember me. My agents always say that it's like, you're planting seeds and you're not going to harvest everything all at once. You're planting them, you're watering it, you're making connections. This industry it's a big, small world, like it's all about connections. It's the people you meet. It's those little impressions that you leave in people. The amount of times that I've like done an audition for something and then they remember me and they bring me back. The amount of times that I've worked with so many of the same crew, the same directors, and it's because they were like, we battered for you because like we know how great you are and you're kind, so of course we want to work with you again. All it takes is like one person to say, yes, I vouch for that, and then you're in. And that's a beautiful thing. Like, you have to remember that, yes, it's competitive. You can't possibly say yes to everything. Not everything is meant for you. But every audition is a learning opportunity. You're still practicing. You still get to do what you love. When you get to audition, you get to play. You still get to do it. Not working is hard. Not working is disheartening when you see everybody around you working. It's hard to like just stay positive all the time and just hopeful, but like you have to continue trying and be like, okay, what else can I do to keep myself connected rather than feeling deflated? What else can I do to feel like what I'm bringing to the table is bookable? So it's a lot of self-work, honestly, like a lot of self-love, saying I'm still proud of myself for doing that. Trust me, I've come so close to so many different projects that I wanted and didn't get them. And I never really linger in being sad. I say, that sucks. But at the same time, like, I'm still going to watch the show and I'm excited to see like who booked it and I'm happy for them. And honestly, like, I'm just happy that I was even considered. And I also learn a lot about like the things that I want to do. So if something like makes me excited and I'm like, oh, I really wanted that, I lean into that. I'm like, okay, so let's manifest something like this. Let's, what was it about that project that really called to me? And those are the kind of projects I want to do. I think it's a lot of like talking yourself out of ruts, talking yourself out of the circle of like comparing yourself and feeling like you're not worthy, because you are. It isn't about that. You not booking it after you've already auditioned isn't because you suck. It's because it just wasn't for you. I think of the writers. I think of how long they've had with these characters and they're trying to find the perfect person. Like, why would I want to book it just for the sake of booking it if it's not the person that they wrote this for, like it's such a beautiful thing, because then when you do book something, you know that it's 100% for you and you don't have to doubt it. So, you just have to, there is a lot of like hurry up and wait game in this. There's a lot of practicing patience. And when you're not working, focus on what makes you outside of work. Life experience, working on your physical body, your mental health, everything. So that you are ready for when the opportunity comes and you're not just like, oh shit, I've been slacking, or I'm not ready for this. Just oh
my God. I swear we could chat for hours with you, but this was incredible. Thank you so much for the time. Wow. Josh, do you want to go into word association with this?
Yes, let's get into word association.
I apologize in advance if my brain goes into weird spaces. but
Yo,
I'm ready.
that's what we're aiming for. We're gonna sneak up on our guests and see what they're really thinking. But yeah, so at the end of our podcast, we like to play with a word association game because talking about making it can get like dense and sometimes like really in our
For
own
sure.
head. So we just want to clear up the space in there. So I'll have 10 words. Lucas will have 10 words, and we'll go through our list of words. I'll say a word, and then you can just say what the first word that comes to mind. First image, first idea, feeling.
Cool.
We'll see where it goes. But yeah, so I'll go through my 10 words. Lucas will do his, and we'll just do a little palate cleanser there.
I feel like I have to like close my eyes. I'm like trying to visualize.
Yeah.
Hey, that could help. That could help for
Okay,
sure.
go.
Okay. All right.
Oh gosh.
Humberly, clear your mind and just let empty space fall in. So, your first word is childhood.
Beach. Mostly like Venezuelan beaches. I was like most of my childhood just going to the beach a lot. Miss it.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Next word. Banana.
I just thought of the word banana and then I saw yellow. My brain is like, I'm not gonna try.
Very direct lines.
Just like literally a banana. So
All
weird.
right.
But I thought of the word in Spanish, which is interesting.
What is it?
Well, there's two different words. Like we say cambur, but the one I thought of is guineo, which is like more native to like where my parents are from.
Oh, cool.
And our bananas are like tiny. They're like these little tiny bananas that grow in trees like in a bunch. Yes, it's a very specific banana that I saw.
Nice.
That's what we're going for. We're trying to trigger those long memories from before. All right, let's try the next word. Sun.
Ooh, brown skin, tanning.
Tanning.
I love it. Love the sun. I'm definitely chasing the sun always.
Always good to do that. Next word. Solitude.
Ask me why I just thought of like the card game, but it's solitaire. That's not the same.
Yeah, that's right. So
it's like the card game. Wait a second, that's not the same thing.
I mean, you're playing solitaire in solitude, so
there you go.
Yeah, that works.
Really, the image that came into my head was just like someone like grabbing their knees in like an empty dark room in a corner. I just see like an image. I could draw it. It's very dark.
I mean, that is solitude for sure. All right, your next word. Goal.
Goal.
Soccer.
Thought of soccer. Used to play soccer for a long time. I actually joined a rec league when I first moved to Toronto. It's really fun. Yeah.
What position did you play?
I was like midfield. I ran a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the cardio position, midfield for sure.
For sure.
Great. Next word. River.
Reminds me of definitely Venezuela. My parents and I and my brother. Oh, sorry. It's like memories. We took this trip, drove all the way down to Brazil from Venezuela, and took us like 2 weeks or something.
Wow.
And we stopped at every single river that we saw, and would just like stop and bathe in it. It's so nice.
That's a lot of rivers.
Totally, there's so many rivers
in
Venezuela.
Yeah,
through the Amazon, literally.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow. That
we would just like tent up, like sleep in tents, or like just make like arepas and just like stop every day. It was like a cute little adventure, and then we just like went to Brazil, crossed the border, had some food, and went back home. So
solid trip.
Yeah.
Solid trip. All right. Next word. Circle.
Season 3. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, Netflix.
Sorry, instantly like reality TV. The Circle.
The Circle. Oh man. I mean, again, you're just blending life and social media and what is your online personality. It's the border just gets weaker and weaker between those two. Okay. Next word. Very serious word. Kumquat.
I don't even know what that is. Is it a fruit?
It's a fruit. It's a fruit.
Oh,
Kumquat.
cool.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I'm trying to imagine what it looks like. All I thought of was like a lychee, but it's not it. I have no idea what a kumquat looks like.
It's bigger. It's a little bigger than a lychee.
Lychee,
Yeah.
lychee, yeah. I'll have to try it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very underappreciated fruit, I think. Kumquat.
Like durians. I've never had it. The one that's stinky,
God.
but it tastes really good.
Durians is a 50-50 fruit. Like if some people will really love it, some people will really hate it. It really
cool. I've always wanted to try it.
Yeah. You got to try and see which one you are, because there's no really rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's just a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next word is winning.
I just thought of the song. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough.
That's what's
winning.
Up. Winning.
And let's do that. And let's do that. Up, down, up, down. This mini concert.
Oh man, concerts. Yeah. When are those fully gonna come back?
Oh my gosh. I actually have tickets to go see Enrique Iglesias and Ricky Martin in October. They're coming
playing
here,
where?
both of them.
Oh.
I think it's at the Toronto, like at the Rogers Center.
Oh, Rogers. Wow. That's big.
I forget where, but it's here. They're coming.
Nice.
We'll see if it actually happens.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely. And which actually leads to my last word is finished.
I thought of Mortal Kombat. You know when they go finish him.
Yeah. That's so
funny what your mind thinks of and like what.
I respect it. I respect it.
I used to play that game all the time.
Fatality.
And Nintendo though, like the old OG, you know.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yo, I can definitely see you in like Mortal Kombat 2 one day.
To do something like that. I want to do like a badass action role where I get to do stunts.
Yeah.
Yeah, like ripped. I would love to do that. Definitely.
That could totally work.
I swear, like every actor now, if you're not in a Marvel movie, like, have you really made it yet? Because
I know I want to be in an action movie, like DC or Marvel. I don't care which one. Just cast me.
Exactly.
Superheroes.
Like
if only Jupiter's Legacy hadn't been canceled, like my character would have been back quite consistently in season 2. But you know, I got a little taste of it. I got to do green screen and wires, and it was so cool. It was hard, but it was, you know, learned a lot. It's really fun.
You're gonna get your badass action spot soon.
Yes.
We see it.
Excited to see it. All right, Lucas, your turn.
All right. Okay, you ready for the next 10, Humberly?
Okay.
She's gasping in surprise and delight, everyone.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay, first word of 10. Voice.
Like The Voice? The show? I love that show. Every episode I cry.
Oh.
There's something, it's just like people following their dreams and then people who are like incredible. Like, I just love singing. Singing just like hits you different, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Second word, Spanish.
Oh. I just thought of, my first language. I love Spanish.
Nice.
It's, I'm so happy I know Spanish. I'm happy that I didn't forget it. Yeah, it's a great language.
You still speak it like fluently and everything like that? You haven't lost it? Yeah. Perfect. Because my Cantonese is so shit. And it's one of my shames.
Like, I think my Spanish is like a very young Spanish because I spoke it like in my, like at the very beginning of my life. And then English, I've been speaking English for longer now. But I understand everything and I can read everything. It's just that sometimes I forget certain words or how to be as eloquent in Spanish as I am in English. It takes me a little longer, but I can communicate like perfectly.
Nice. Yeah. Hold on to that. That's home. Yeah. Next word, hurt.
That's it. It was just a feeling.
Oh.
There's no image, just well, I did lose my toenail.
Oh shit.
It's like halfway lifted, so there's a band-aid on it, and that was the last time I was really hurt. I danced for like 12 hours straight with really tight shoes, and I didn't cut my toenail short enough, so
it's
like a blood blister, and it just lifted. So I'm definitely gonna lose it. It's just hanging on by a thread.
So my god.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Toenail. God.
Yeah, and yeah, it's not pretty.
Okay.
Don't look at my feet.
Your wiki feed is non-existent
Yeah,
right now. Okay.
no.
Next word, Far Cry.
Oh my God, Far Cry is coming. I actually ran into Sean Ray last night. He plays the player. He's one of the players in the video game. And I'm excited. I think we're gonna have like a mini like premiere party with like some of the cast and try and play the game on the day that it comes out, like October 7th. I'm so excited to see it and all come together. It's been years in the making.
Everyone check her out October 7th when the game comes out. It'll be awesome.
Yay!
Next word, Venezuela.
Oh, my Venezuela. It's like a bittersweet thought because that country has everything, but it's just in such turmoil right now. Like it's just dangerous and not livable. I haven't been back in 6 years. Definitely miss it.
Yeah.
I hope to be back one day. I miss the food and the beaches, and like my friends and family are all there still. So.
Oh, okay. But
gosh, what a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Hopefully. Next word, Montreal.
Just kidding. Gosh, Montreal just feels like another lifetime ago. Honestly, It was like 3 really intense years of my life where I was just like in this like cult. It feels like NTS was just such a bubble, and it was amazing and life changing. But at the same time, like, wow, I think of quinoa when I think of Montreal. It's this like really amazing pastry that they make there.
Cool.
And it's so good. I miss it. I just want some quinoa.
Oh, okay. I got to check that out since we're so close.
So good.
I'll head up there. Next one, Sophie.
Oh, that's it.
A memory.
Honestly, like such a special role. I was hanging out with Sarah yesterday, who plays Max, and it was just like we hadn't really like spent time together since the show came out because it was COVID, and then we shot the show 2 years ago, and like who would have thought that it would have been this big and such an impact. Love Sophie, changed my life, my career in a different way, like the way that I was seen, and it opened up a lot of doors and connections. So I'm very grateful for that role.
Awesome. Yeah. And it's an amazing show, and everyone has to watch it on Netflix there.
Yeah, looking forward to season 2, definitely.
Yeah.
Next word, dance.
So you think you can dance. Literally, I heard the whole thing.
Yeah.
Again, danced for 12 hours last weekend, lost my toenail. I miss it though. I miss dancing like out in the sun. I went to Electric Island.
Oh, cool.
So weird to be like in a group, but like it's outside and there was sunshine and just like beautiful music and people made friends. It was so nice.
Awesome.
And I love dancing. I miss it. I love going out dancing like all the time. That was like my cardio on weekends. Yeah.
I can't wait to like I mean, I'm not that big of a dancer, but I actually like love throwing down at the clubs or something like that. It's just it's so much fun. Oh my God. Second last word, Philadelphia.
Cream cheese. Nice. I actually had a cream cheese bagel today. Every time I eat it, I'm like, this is so weird. I'm just always reminded. And I do love cream cheese. It's funny because like the first time that I shot the commercial, I kept actually eating the bagels, and they were like, Humberly, like stop eating them. You don't have to. And I was like, I just really like it. It's so yummy. They're like, we already hired you. You don't need to sell us on this.
Yeah.
Like, I got to eat a lot of cream cheese at work. I'm not complaining. Yeah.
That's our whole craft budget right there. Just all cream cheese. Okay. Last word, Humberly.
Sneeze. When I think of my name, I think of the fact that like people are always like, "Ooh, so interesting." But I always tell the story. Like it's in Venezuela, there's a tradition that the parents combine their names to make a new name for their children.
Oh.
So my dad's name is Humberto and my mom's name is Liliana, so they made Humberly. It's like a made-up name, but it's so cool. I just love the idea of that it's like a unique name, which is why a lot of Venezuelan people have weird names. Usually women, and when you meet a Latina woman, they tell you their name, you can probably instantly tell, like, you must be from Venezuela because your name is like Yelitzmat or something like wild. But it's kind of great and unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man.
You mentioned that, and I just suddenly reminded me that my name in Chinese is also both my parents' names put together, added together.
Cool.
So
See?
that's kind of funny. Yeah. I didn't realize you could do that like in Spanish as well.
Mm-hmm.
What happens though if you...
All of my cousins have all made up names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens though then with like siblings in the same family? Like, do you guys just like switch?
Honestly, usually if they have a boy, they'll be named after the dad, like my brother is. My mom liked the name Hillary as well. Still with an H and a Y at the end. And I was like, Humberly is so much better.
Yeah, we agree.
I used to hate it because like people didn't know how to pronounce it, or like I thought it was too weird. And now I'm like, no, it's like, even my Instagram, like it's just Humberly. It's like Beyonce or Rihanna. I'm like, just like one name, you know?
Yeah.
The whole world is going to know that name soon.
So weird to think that even some people know it. Humberly. Yeah.
My goodness. Cool. Again, we could chat with you for hours, but thank you so much again, Humberly. It was awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Where can people find you? What are your handles?
Again, at Humberly.
There it is.
Just my name, and then TikTok and Twitter are at Humberly G. So Gonzalez from the last name.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Any projects you want to put out there? Anything you want to promote?
I can't talk about it yet. I was supposed to, it's going to be the announcement of a movie that I have coming out. It was supposed to be on Wednesday, but now they've moved it to the end of the month. Gotcha. So stay tuned. I'm the lead in this movie and I'm very excited.
Nice.
To see it. So at the end of the month, there will be a reveal, the first reveal, the first, like, here's the movie. Here's the, it's part of, Lifetime. That's all I'll say. It's a Wonderful Lifetime, so it'll be a part of that. And
okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, exciting.
Am I getting Christmas vibes from this movie? No. Actually, don't say it. Oh shit. Nice. I like it. Yeah. My goodness. Everyone, follow Humberly on Instagram so you can see all her updates and everything. Josh, where can people find you?
You can find me at Josh Yang Comedy across everything. And of course, you could, listen to the Sleep with Josh podcast, which is my other podcast where I read genuinely dry things like laws and the dictionary.
And then people go to sleep.
People go to sleep.
Brilliant. I watch ASMR videos to go to sleep.
Well, hey,
I love ASMR.
You can always try listening to the Sleep with Josh podcast. I count sheep for an hour in one of them. So, that'll help a lot of people.
How do you not fall asleep? I feel like
no, you could tell.
Reading and be like,
yeah, you could tell like 45 minutes in, I'm at my wit's end, having counted sheep. For
I
already
see it. I just found it.
Wow, there it is. Yeah, hey, give it a listen. It's always up there. So yeah, it's Sleep with Josh podcast. And hey, Lucas.
Yeah.
What are your handles?
Everyone can find me across social media at Lucas John Ing. Last name is, again, just 2 letters, N and a G. And if you like what you see and hear, come follow us at YouTube, but wherever you listen to your podcast, at HWMIY podcast. And also, I think I said this like 2 weeks ago at the same time, but leave a review. It's kind of cool to actually see some reviews that we have. So we'll read it out. And that'd be great if we can hear your feedback too. Give it up for Humberly one more time. This is amazing.
Yay.
Awesome. We'll see you all back.
Clap. I don't know.
We're all clapping. Yeah. Awesome. We'll see you all in 2 weeks. Peace.
Sweet.
Bye.